For the day. And now we are going to be moving on towards our second topic of discussion for the day, which is a very interesting one, and I seem to have forgotten all about my English just reading it. We are going to be talking about euphemism and dysphemism in EFL classes. There you go. Like I said, I'm forgetting my English just reading the topic. And now we are going to be in discussion with Mr. Muhammad Taghian. He is an assistant professor of Applied Linguistics and Translation at the Taiba University. Now, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining us.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for the invitation.
Now, first of all, before we go on, Mr. Muhammad talking about it,
Right.
did I pronounce it correctly? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, okay, fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
talking about the definition of euphemism and dysphemism, is it?
Yes, dysphemism.
What are these two?
Well, first of all, euphemism is euphemism is a linguistic tool that's universal and almost found in all languages. That almost found in all spoken and written discourses of languages. People tend to use euphemism when they try to mitigate offensive speech, when they face flagrant discourses or speeches. So they try to mitigate this as the palliative forms, as the palliative technique for not saying the bad words or for not saying the not appropriate speeches. So they try to say these words instead of saying the bluntly or the word which is sometimes might be not polite or something like that. So it's a kind of politeness.
Oh, I could simplify it.
Yeah.
You just sugarcoat things when you say it.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So, for example, let's give you an example of this. For example, if you are talking about a topic, very sensitive topic,
Right.
which is dying and death. So we don't say Mr. X died. We instead say passed away,
Right.
go to heaven, or passed on,
Right.
and such words. So we are trying to mitigate, and we call them linguistically we call them mitigators, because it soften the words and soften the speeches. So
Right.
this is simply the euphemism, and of course the opposite word, which is the word that we do not need to pronounce, is dysphemism.
Right.
So dysphemism is the opposite of euphemism. So we are trying to keep away from dysphemism.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. Of course, there are a lot of types of euphemism, many types. Because of the time, I'm going to just mention three
Yes,
types
some
of them.
the examples of types.
For example, we have a type which is abstraction. Abstraction, when people try to keep away or to distance people from embarrassing issues. So, for example, as I said, the word die, we say passed on, pass
Right.
away, go to heaven. The word in class, for example, we are going to say you failed in this exam. No, teachers are advised not to say such
Harsh
unmotivated
words,
and
yeah.
harsh words, unmotivated for students. So
Right.
don't say you failed. Say the word, for example, fizzle out. For example, go out of business. So, for example, fall down,
Yeah.
lagging behind. All such words might be not shocking words for the students, not to shock the student and to demotivate his abilities.
Certainly. Now, when it is that we speak about euphemism and dysphemism, when you're giving us all these kind of examples, so these are, in a way, we can summarize it under the bracket of kindness, being kind with your words, or rather being selective with your words. When we speak about our religion of Islam, we get to hear constantly of things which show us as to how important it is for us to be kind with our words, not to hurt people, not to hurt their feelings. Do you see some of the examples from our religion or from the Quran which support this?
Sure. Actually, Quranic discourse has a lot of euphemistic expressions and euphemistic issues, and of course you could find a lot. I can give you just few examples from different verses in the Quranic chapters. For example, in chapter Al-Hijr, you could find the word وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. The word al-yaqeen here means death,
Right.
till you die. So it is not, the God didn't say the word
We have
directly.
one of the charts
So
on
it is,
air
it
right
is said,
now as well.
it is said by al-yaqeen instead of al-maut. So we
Right.
didn't say al-maut. Another example from Al-Ma'idah, وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانٍ. Some translators, some Quranic translators say that this is girlfriends. Of course it's not, because girlfriends is it's not a taboo word in the English speaking language, and at the same time it's non-legal, it's legal. But for here متخذي أخدان, it's illicit
Right.
word. So there is a classical word that we could say concubines. This is a word instead of saying this word. Another example, فضحكت فبشرناها بإسحاق. This here many commentators, or let's say most of the commentators say laughed, but of course one of the commentators, who is Mujahid, he mentioned that this is menstruated for ضحكت, because it has a relation with what comes after. فضحكت فبشرناها بإسحاق, laughed and then gave her good news of Isaac, right? So this is a way that the Quranic Quranic discourse deals with such sensitive topics. Of course, there are many topics that could say about this in our daily life. So we can say, for example, in moving to the classroom, instead of saying the toilet, we have many words for the toilet. So we can say bathroom, restroom. We can say John. I'm gonna meet John. Who is John? John is the toilet. This is right. And in the American context, you could say number 1 and number 2 for excrement, right? So this is, of course, the topics of euphemism are various and diverse in all our life discourses.
Indeed. So, well, it is so much better when you give us examples, because now we truly understand what it is. So basically it's searching for synonyms that are going to be lighter on the tongue and on the people as well. But talking about the EFL classes, Mr. Muhammad, tell us about some of the funny situations that you have experienced as a teacher.
Well, that's right. One of my students actually, he went to work as a front office as a receptionist, front office in a hotel.
Right.
So one of the tourists pop in and asked him about where can I park my car, and this guy wasn't the word. He was overlapping between park and bark.
Oh.
So this is a word. You know that pahan in Arabic, does not exist. So they don't know. Most of the students, when they study, they have problems pronouncing these two voicing and non-voicing sounds. So he asked him to go, and he asked him, go park whatever you like to park, as if he is the tourist thought that he is saying park the car the word that it is, and the other guy says he thought that he's howling, but the other word, which is bark, means howling, dogs howling, right? So he said, okay, go bark wherever you like. So he went, parked the car as it is, and after that the security came and take the car. So it was a very embarrassing situation for that for that receptionist in that time. Right. Another one of the most funny situations that happened with me. Once I was simultaneously interpreting a workshop, a training workshop at the police academy in Egypt. Some African police officers were taking training workshops in the police academy in Egypt, and one of them asked me to make a short call.
Okay.
A short call. So I saw that he needs my mobile to make a short call. So I gave him he said, no, I need the short call. Short call is a toilet, is the word for the toilet. So this is, it was, sometimes you face some people because it's you could find it in every culture, and it depends on the culture. It depends on the culture, and because some people think that this is that certain words, expressions, topics that we are going to say, not to say this and say that.
Right.
So this is a way, and actually it's phonetically it's a linguistic tool and linguistic phenomenon.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Muhammad, as we're living in a country like Saudi Arabia, and it's really amazing if we count the number of nationalities we have. Saudi Arabia at large is so very cosmopolitan, especially our bigger cities. So we have people from all cultures, from all parts of the world. How do we develop an understanding of so many of these different kind of synonyms from different parts of the world? Or should we, let's say, ask for an explanation when it's something that we do not really understand?
Yeah, sure. First of all, when you face something like that, you should ask the person first. This is number one. Because reading is very important. Students should read a lot. Should read in order to know the other culture, what it's about. So reading, you have to read about it. There are many dictionaries of many dictionaries of euphemism. And these dictionaries of euphemism could find a lot of expressions and topics about this. So
certainly. And Mr. Muhammad, as we're speaking about these different euphemisms, we also get to see that there are so many of the things that we could actually learn by just simply asking a question. So if there is something that you fail to comprehend, that you do not really understand well, then do not act like you have understood it. Just go ahead and ask, because I feel like there is so much in this way that we can actually learn. But Mr. Muhammad, as we're speaking about learning these kind of new things from different cultures, from people of different cultures, even if we are speaking in the same language, let's say, which is English,
right.
Is it a hesitation for people to ask a question? Because for myself, I mean, I very gladly just, if there's something that I have not understood, because there are people from different parts of the world. So I've got a lot of my friends who are from the different parts of United Kingdom. Some of them have like a very different kind of an accent, and it's, even when they're saying something simple, it's a bit difficult to try to get to understand what they're saying because their accent is so heavy. Or some of the people from different parts of even the United States, their English accent is very different.
Right.
So I would usually ask, or I would, let's say, ask in a funny way that, well, English is not really my first language, so could you really simplify what you just said?
Yeah.
Do you think that people have usually a hesitation?
Yes, right. Not quite right, Saima. I'd like to tell you something very important. People tend to use these mitigators with the same culture. If you are from a different culture, you know that you are not sharing them the same ideas. You are not sharing them the same words they speak. So they try to accept non-acceptable words from their indigenous people, right? And that's why. So you could find, for example, sometimes you could find some funny pronunciations, which might give the other meaning of the word. So, for example, and this is one of the types, which is called mispronunciation, or linguistically speaking, it's called phonetic distortion. When you try phonetic distortion, when you try to make a phonetic alternation for the word. For example, the word vamp instead of vampire. vampire blood. So you see vampire. No, I'd like not to say vampire because of the blood. So you say what? You say vam. And we have one actually, I don't know if it is in Saudi culture or not, but we have one in Egypt. We say the word for the Satan. We say, which is shaitan, we say shushu. Right. Yeah, Allahumma ghazika shushu means that I keep away from, I'm praying to keep away from the Satan, right? This is a way of making the euphemistic expressions and the euphemistic words.
Wow, a lot of my friends call me Susu, so I really hope that with a slip of a tongue they don't call me Shushu.
No, it's a different pronunciation, a different sound.
Indeed. And on that note, Mr. Muhammad, this has been a very interesting discussion. But we are in this current age where the new generation are all known as the millennials. We are speaking our own language, and I happen to speak sarcasm very fluently. Some people do not quite understand sarcasm.
Right.
Now, is there something that you would like to tell the people who are watching you, because we are all out of time? What is your final message to the people who are watching you when it comes to speaking in any language, really? How important it is for them to choose the politically correct words when they're talking to certain people, and when is it that they can just be themselves, really?
Right. Actually, to be a fluent student, to be a fluent speaker of English, you have to know a lot of euphemistic expressions. So when you try to read a lot and to listen more about the diplomatic, about the good words and good speeches instead of flagrant speech, instead of offensive discourses. So you have to learn a lot about this from dictionaries, from movies, watching movies, and following up a lot of diplomatic speeches. Such these words you could find yourself have a lot of vocabulary, a lot of euphemistic expressions.
Indeed.
And actually you could find yourself after that you are speaking the euphemistic expressions fluently without asking for or expressions.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Indeed. And on that note, like I always say, movies are a great learning lesson. That's why I do Hollywood 360. That is exactly Mr. Muhammad saying the same thing. So I get very happy when my points get validated. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is all of the time that we have for this discussion. Let us move on towards a short break, after which we are taking you back to Janadria. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.